Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode here on African Confessions. The following story that you're going to be listening to, it comes from a translation of a message that one of our sister received and helped us with the translation. The translation reads like this. Hello, Brother Nashi, how are you? Can you please post my own story as hidden identity? I want to confess to the whole world that I am an occultist. I joined the Nigerian Occultic Brotherhood, even though I am South African. I joined and I used my mother as well as using my wife and kids, but they are still alive. My mother was the one who passed away, and this was when she got so sick, and I told her and I told her relatives as well as my relatives that the only option that was left, since we were all Christians, was for me to go with her to Nigeria to see this other famous prophet, because she had some things that were coming out of her body that no one could understand. And this was the plan all along of the Occultic Brotherhood, that my mom will get so sick so that I can bring her to that shrine in Nigeria, and then she can be killed off and her spirit can be taken. I used to be a pastor, but I was a nobody at that time. But now I am no longer a pastor. Because of this Occultic Brotherhood, I am meant to target church-going women. And these church-going women, I do sleep with them, leaving some curses in their lives. The more that they are pregnant, the better. When the pregnancy is like Jew, if I manage to sleep with a woman, the whole Occultic Brotherhood, it will celebrate, because the woman will then have a stillborn baby, but the spirit of that baby would be transferred from South Africa and will be brought before our priest who is in Nigeria. And when this happens, it's more like what my friend is always saying. We are having a Zoom meeting with the high priest today. So in our houses, we always have to keep an empty room. So in that empty room, you should have a wall that will be painted with a plain color. It does not matter. As for me, I just wanted a normal yellow plain color. So you sit down with everything that you use for the rituals in front of you, and then we wait. Then the priest will appear. He appears to all of us at once, and then we will start to celebrate, and we have those meetings whenever he wants anything from us. If he requires a sacrifice, then you go in front of the wall, you sit down, and then you wait for the high priest to appear, and then he will address you and inform you that you are required to do such a thing. And when I did these rituals, honestly speaking, I wanted to become a famous pastor. I was even taken by that high priest there in Nigeria, but we went to this other church in Abuja, because what I had done was that after my mom had been sacrificed in the spiritual world before she could die back in South Africa, I told them that the reason as to why I had performed those rituals, it was because I wanted to become a big man of God. Because I said to myself, if I can become the most famous pastor in South Africa, I'll start to help those that do not have a place to stay. I will start to help those that are orphans, those that need food to eat. All of them, I'll start to help them. I did not know that water does not mix with oil. I was told that it was not my mission to become a famous pastor in South Africa, and it was not my mission to help those that are suffering. There are those that are chosen to take the souls of the people that they do give money and help those that are suffering, and it is not my duty. So that was when I was told that there are other Nigerian pastors who did the rituals as well. I was taken to that church in Abuja, where I ended up being surprised, because I met two famous prophets at that time who were Nigerian, who were performing some rituals all at once, because they wanted their followers as well to be blind, so that if this prophet is attacked online. They were scared of Facebook during those days when I did the rituals, scared that people now had the opportunity to say whatever that they wanted. So they wanted a situation where no one will ever coming out saying anything. Their followers, since they had been joined together in that occultic rituals by their prophets, anyone that had ever given his or her money to the prophet through the church, then he or she will defend the prophet the same way that if your money is under attack, won't you defend your money? That is how these blind followers defend their own masters. That is the ritual where I was taken to that church just in time for that ritual. So at that time, before I had done these rituals, I was just a small time pastor struggling to make ends meet. I used to preach a lot in our location until I ended up feeling as if I was crazy. Notice something: if you are a pastor, if you are a poor pastor, people will think that maybe you are mentally ill. No one will ever respect you. I ended up walking whilst I will be preaching and telling everyone about the good news, but people will just say this one is mentally ill, this one is crazy, because I did not have any money. I still remember there was one day when I went to town and I was busy preaching the word of God until this other man said, "You are wasting our time. This God of yours, if he is a real God, why don't he give you money? You do not even have a car." That was when I realized that I was just a nobody pastor who was trying to make ends meet and I had nothing. It did not even make sense for a man to preach about blessings, but when you do not have anything, how can you say that God will bless you when you are broke? I was desperate and I was tired of struggling. The day that I spoke with one of our tenants who was a Nigerian, a guy who was into drug dealing, that man, me and him, we sat down. It was somewhere around 7:30. The electricity at my parents' house, it had been cut off. I was staying in a backroom shack with my wife and my 2 kids. I could not even afford rent anymore. So my mother was owing the council a lot of money and we did not even know what to do. So the electricity was cut off and the money that was needed from us, it was a lot. Me and him, we started to talk. That was when he said, if only my mother was not that prayerful, I could have joined a powerful occultic brotherhood that is found in Abuja. I have few of my friends that are very rich, so much that they don't even care about spending money. And I said, tell me more about it. He told me that his mother was always praying for him. So when he tried to join that brotherhood, the altar was set on fire by a strange being that just appeared, and he was told that he could not become part of the brotherhood. And then that was when I saw that this was my opportunity. I kept on speaking with that man until he said, okay, I can give you some phone numbers, but it can be quite difficult. In whatever that you do, you are not supposed to go there alone. And if you have money in which I know that you won't have the money, maybe we can go together. So I struggled, I don't want to lie to you, until I stole some money from this other pastor. I would go to his church. He had a quite big church. When I went to see him in his office, we were just talking. There were a lot of people at his church. So he had a phone in his drawer, an iPhone, as well as some money that he had. There was a girl who came and knocked on the door saying that there was one who wanted to see the pastor. So when he went out, I quickly snatched the iPhone as well as the huge sum of cash, which amounted to close to 17,000 rands. He immediately returned back and he said, I am about to leave, so maybe we can live together. We went out of the church premises together and he dropped me in town, and I went and I sold that iPhone after I had communicated with that Nigerian guy who was staying at my parents' house. He said that there was a guy who was in the business of buying stolen iPhones. We went there and we sold the phone. I told him that I had stolen some money, and this was the money that we were supposed to use for the plane ticket going to his country. And he said it was not going to be enough, but he said, I have seen that indeed you want to do this. Let me speak with one of my guy. We then went to this other place, and then he showed the guy the money as well as me stealing the iPhone, yet I was a pastor. And he said, this guy, he really wants to be wealthy. You need to give him a chance. That man, he just went online and he said, so it's 2 tickets, right? With return tickets. And that guy said, yes. He booked a hotel for us, the money that we were supposed to use, as well as the bank card that he said, this is what you can use when you are there. If the money gets finished, I will top it up. That is how I ended up being in Nigeria. Within a week, we were on a flight to Abuja. I was taken to the shrine, and after a lot of rituals, also taken to a big church. We returned back to South Africa, and I was supposed to return back there carrying the spirit of my mother. So I stopped being the man of God, and I just became a regular person. I do go to church, but when I go to church, usually I go there because I would have been told that at such a church, there is this woman that you are supposed to be targeting. She might be a married woman, or sometimes she can be just a normal single woman. I date that lady, sleep with her, take care of her. Then at the end of the day, she loses all that she has. So to seal the covenant, I had to bring a sacrifice, not an animal, not money, but this sacrifice was done here in South Africa. A human being was supposed to be my sacrifice. I was told that I had to go out into the streets, just like I had done in Abuja, to find a mad woman who was completely insane, talking to herself, dirty clothes, and those people, they do not have families. You can do whatever that you want with him. I took one into an old building, and I started abusing her, and then I cut her skin. She cried so loudly, she wanted to attack me. Then I ran away. There was a car that was already waiting for me. The thing that I like about rituals is that they are united. When I came back after my mother passed away, that was when I was given connection, simple connection from this other guy who came to the restaurant where I had been told to go and sit and wait for him. He was not someone that was flamboyant, just a normal South African guy who told me that he is the one that had been sent to help me, just like he has been helping those that are cult members to set up a business. So there are rituals that I have to perform, plenty of those rituals. As for my wife, she is no longer mentally sane. I still do keep her, but I only keep her so that her relatives cannot complain. She is mentally challenged, including our 2 kids. Their souls are trapped at the shrine there in Nigeria. They can just sit in the house laughing or crying for no reason at all. Even if you go to the doctor, it is no use because it is a spiritual madness. And I was told that my family belongs to the shrine now, like forever. Since I chose to sell my family, I'll be given money. Dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to me by one of our brother right there. Strange things indeed, they do happen in this world.